Hello Fanatics, welcome to this kind of new series which I'm gonna call Trades of the Week. I used to do that as a trading setups breakdown series, but I'm gonna try to do this every single kind of weekend to break down the best setups that occurred during this week. Because what I actually teach my members is that we always have to be focused on capitalizing on the trades of the week, because every single week there is gonna be movement. So if you're focused, if you just allow for the market to develop and play out a little bit, you are always gonna get one or two good setups per week. And this is basically our focus, to really execute on those setups. So today we're gonna have a look at gold, because we took two amazing long setups this week on Thursday and Friday. You can see we waited for the right time to strike. So if we have a very brief look at the technicals, now you know I'm looking at the overall top-down analysis every Saturday on the weekly outlook. We have been extremely bullish on gold. Every single week is opening up and is just absolutely rocketing. So the bias is extremely clear. Now, if you have a look here at the last two trading days, they were also pretty bullish. But what the market did is it started creating these daily bullish imbalances, right? And our question at that time was, all right, is the market going to pull back? So basically, this was not there yet. We're trading here on Thursday. So how do we know if the market is actually going to pull back into an imbalance and then potentially go from there? I always personally go to one time frame lower. So that's a little rule I have. So is there something to potentially push the market higher on the lower time frame? The market will usually try it from there. If there isn't anything, then it's going to go and seek the lower level. So in this case, we have this hourly zone. However, the market developed a little bit into kind of a choppy price action here. Tapped in candle 1, candle 2 through a massive rejection, candle 3, 4, 5, 6. So we really started to consolidate within that overall 4-hourly zone. And based on my rules, this 4-hourly zone was not really broken or violated yet. So I made my way to the 1-hourly time frame to really read the price action there. First thing that really came to my mind on this day is that the 1-hour EMA, that is a 50 EMA, that is an amazing determinant of kind of middle term trends. I wouldn't say short term, it's more like a middle term, which is exactly what I need. I don't do long term stuff, I don't do extremely short term stuff for my forex trading, so I use the 50 EMA. And you can see this is kind of going to be an overall kind of market structure guideline. Like if you put it on your chart and you study it, like when it kind of shifts down, you're usually having some trend change down, and then the market makes lower highs and lower lows. Then when we have like a structural trend change up, then the market actually breaks above the EMA, stays above. Then again, we have like a trend change down, breaks below, and so on and so forth. It is also amazing support and resistance level. So what we had on that day is a beautiful tap of that 1-hour EMA here. And we also have this 1-hourly zone there. Now this 1-hourly zone during Asia tapped in and it tried to push price into that daily zone. However, it tapped in, tried, and it failed. And at this moment here, we actually invalidated that imbalance. And then eventually this becomes liquidity according to me, because that is the origin of that 1-hourly bearish imbalance. And then what happened is we actually flipped the script. We create this 1-hourly bullish. And then basically I only trade gold in New York session. So when I came in, I was like, okay, the market doesn't really want to go to that daily. We have invalidated this 1-hourly bearish. We have liquidity here. We have liquidity here. And of course, the ultimate one was the Asian range high. Let's see if we're actually going to get some sort of a setup. Now, there is another confluence that I use right here, which is a volume profile of the previous day. So if I go from 18 o'clock, which is when the gold kind of price action opens, into here 1645, which is where it closed, and I populate this little volume profile, we can see that pretty much the big kind of cluster of orders was up there, and this is our value area low, vol in short. And what I was seeing that the market tried to run away from it, okay, to kind of discover these prices lower, but then eventually it came above that value area, that's a tongue twister here, value area low, broke above it and started retesting it, right? But it didn't really want to get comfortable below. And there is a rule within the volume profile theory, is that if the market becomes comfortable, for example, below or above this sort of area, it will seek the opposing side where really the orders are. So that also fed up on that idea that, okay, we can potentially be pushing up. And basically my target was roughly within this region where the bulk of the orders were. So We got that 1 hourly zone tap. Also, you can see the 15-minute EMA now is starting to also shift bullish. We kind of had a couple of taps into it, and then we had this 15-minute, 15-minute bullish imbalances that gave me the actual zone to enter with a really nice breakout above London station. I don't have it on the indicator here. Dropping onto the 5-minute time frame, which I always check to see if there is going to be some sort of struggle. We actually did have it here. We had a very little 5-minute zone, and then I made my way to the 1-minute time frame, where upon the market coming into that 5-minute zone, it gave us a little reaction to prove that there was some sort of struggle, but then we basically invalidated that 5-minute reaction, and my entry was pretty much up here, got triggered by a little bit of spread, stop loss below, and if you remember, I was targeting here this area, and I believe I exited for a 1.7 or a 1.6, something like that. Definitely could have let it run towards the Asian range high, but I had my area, I had my profit taking, and I was pretty happy with it. And of course, to show you the proof, there it is. So I have taken a 1.7R, and there is the execution that I also share with my team after calling out the setup. So roughly, yeah, exactly right here. You can see there is the candle, there is the exit, so 1.7. So yeah, this was a really good trade, and you can see eventually we kind of did go to that area of volume, but then we just blasted through it, blasted all-time highs, and we just continued to move very nicely. Now, if you also spot, gold has been moving a lot during Asia recently. And you can see, for example, Monday just opens up, pops, then it consolidates, opens up, pops, then it doesn't do much, opens up, massively pops. During this time, I have some members that are, for example, trading during Asia. Immediately Benny comes to my mind here. You can see, for example, Benny, right, on the 22nd here, long 1.5R, of course, always with proof. Then there he is, like first trade. Where's his first trade? Yeah, somewhere here. Second trade 1.5, third trade break even, and then there is the first trade 1.5R again. Like, look at these crazy moves. So my community that are actually trading during Asia, they're just absolutely destroying it. But because I'm in Europe, I can only trade New York. And then this is kind of one of the trades of the week. Really clear, really nice run. Definitely could have left for more R, but that is not needed. And then we transition into Friday. Bias remains the same. Now we know kind of the overall outcome after the Davos meeting with Trump, which I listened to. He was only pumping America and how great it is and how he also wants to take Greenland. But then we had like a little bit kind of a consolidation. Investors not really sure what they want to do. But then we just kept seeing that, okay, money is pouring into gold right now. It really started exiting in the dollar. We got into this risk on sentiment. And basically, again, buying gold and buying currencies like euro or pound was pretty much the trade of the week. And then the next day was also pretty nice. We have this 4-hourly zone here. Again, we're making a little bit of a pullback. We did have right now a daily zone below, but again, what I told you is that how do you know if that zone is going to get tapped? Well, you of course first check the hard time frame. We have a 4-hourly zone. So if this 4-hourly zone fails, only then price will seek the lower one. All right. We did pull back into that 4-hourly zone. Great. Now, again, what I always do is I go to check on the lower time frames because I want to be aware of everything. And what we also had is this 1-hourly bearish zone. Because then, of course, we're like stuck in this sort of sandwich. How do we know what is going to happen? Is we, of course, just follow price action and we wait to see who is going to fail. Immediately, the market showed us signs of failure of that 1-hourly bearish, and that unlocks the liquidity, which is the origin. So do you see, like, it's a very similar trade and explanation to the previous trade, right? Because it's a system. This fails, we're having a hard time frame bullish bias, so we then go for the opposing side of the liquidity. Now, transferring once again onto the 50-minute, it was a very, very similar setup once again. There is that 50-minute zone. In this case, I wanted to enter here, but we were still like the EMA was still a little bit bearish, so I really waited for the market to break, stay above it, and then retest it from the other side, which is exactly what we got. And also I have to plot a volume profile here. That was the developing volume profile. So it starts from here. And then by the time I was looking to enter, I also spotted something interesting. You can see again, the bulk of the orders were located right here. Okay. And the market again tried to seek the price action below that very area low. My God, why is this such a tongue twister for me? And then we kind of came, retested it. We tried again, but we didn't really accept below it. We didn't really want to seek further bearish price action. Although there was, for example, on this bullish leg, There were a couple of what is called like these low value nodes, but they got filled right there. So kind of the inefficiency was actually filled. So there wasn't much of a reason for the market to be pulling back further. And then pretty much what the very big confluence for me at that time was, is that we were resting at this val, I'm gonna call it, because the other thing is a big tongue twister. And then my theory, once again, my hypothesis was that we're gonna go to seek the point of control, which is the point at which the majority of the orders were transacted during that specific day. And then of course the value area high. And then of course, utilizing the entry model immediately, going to the 5-minute time frame, we did have a little bit of a struggle area here that I'm gonna mark, and then going to the 1-minute time frame, we just wait for that struggle area to get overtaken, which for me happened here. So entry was taken from there, stop loss is taken here. And then literally I was looking to target. So what did I take on that trade? Have to check my Discord once again. Let me move it out the way. Iliya trading. Yeah, so I took a 1.6R. That's definitely could have been better, but I actually had a little bit of a hard time with that one, because on multiple occasions, kind of here, when it took a little bit of liquidity, came to break and I was like, oh shit, then it pushed up into this area here that I told you with the volume profile. This is where like so many orders were located. It reacted massively, then it pushed up again and it reacted, and somewhere here I went break even, because I was like, well, this level is probably gonna push price lower. And then as it finally pushed up, I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna really hold it, so I'm gonna get out of the trade because it was a little bit stressful. And then it just absolutely rocketed for quite a bit of risk to reward. I have been also using fib extensions. So I had an overall target here, which is the 27 extension. Would have been a massively crazy trade. But again, like I'm after small and consistent wins, not asking too much from price, although sometimes it's actually good to ask when you recognize that there is a lot of momentum kicking in the market. So that for me was a 1.6R trade. I'm immediately gonna show you also the proof, which is right there. There's the entry. There's that 5-minute zone that I showed you. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna have to share that again. There is this 5-minute zone here. There's the trade a little bit above here into the wick, and then there is the exit right here for a 1.6, and then it just rocketed. So those are my two trades of the week. Really nice. We also took a take profit on the same day on GU, which was a very big rocket. There is, for example, the breakdown here, taking it from here and then targeting. And then also the community took quite a couple of nice trades this week. Like if we go to all the way down to the 20th here, there we go. Like we started, where is the beginning? There is the 20th. So down here taking a long take profit. We had a stop loss on GU. TON 1.3R on EU, 1.14R here. Stop loss on GU long, which had a re-entry later on. EURUSD 1.7. There is Benny killing it in Asia. Stop loss on UJ for Andrew here. Another long for Benny. Stop loss on GU here for Jeremy. Some stop losses here, but every single trade is being given feedback to during our webinars. But overall, it was a really nice and profitable week for everyone. Although there are some stop losses here and there, usually, like always, you manage to come on top with some really good risk to reward. So everybody, hopefully that was insightful. Let me know if you would like me to continue with this series, and if you find it valuable with these sort of explanations, let me know what more you want me to include. Hope it was insightful, and talk to you next week.